Huh. Looks like Timaeus isn't here today. Customers? Oh, pardon me. Are you looking for Timaeus? No. Just strange for him to not be around. Paimon. I see. He was called away by Albedo a little while. I'm Sucrose, Albedo's assistant. If you have any alchemy-related queries, you could always ask me. I do my best to help. Huh? Do I look nervous? My apologies. I don't get out too often. I'm usually in the laboratory, where there... If you need any help, just call my name. If not, I'll be reading a book. Over there. Thanks. No worries. We're all clued up on the basics of alchemy, aren't we? Hey, aren't you the legendary traveler? The one who repelled Storm Terror? I've heard so many stories about you. Always... what do you mean? Sorry, don't mind me. Still, you'd definitely be able to help Albedo. There's that name again, Albedo. Is he also an alchemist in Mons? Apologies, I never introduced him. Albedo is the Knights of Favonia's chief alchemist. He's also Timaeus and my teacher. But Paimon's only ever seen Timaeus teaching alchemy. Yes, he's dedicated himself to investigating the truth of this world. We often get alchemists coming to Mondstadt from all over Teyvat, seeking his help. They say that the subtlest of guidance from Mr. Albedo helps him to solve the most... Wow! Paimon didn't know he was such... Still, it seems that he's encountered a problem in his research recently. Every time I see him, he has a concerned look on his face. I'm sure that Albedo would love to hear about your incredible exploits. I know Albedo is a true gentleman. He'll be sure to pay you back in equal measure for helping him out. I don't see why not. Testing the limits of living beings' capabilities is one of Albedo's areas. Albedo and Timaeus will be conducting research in the mountains right now. I'm afraid you'll have to go to the entrance to the pass and look for him by yourselves. Look out for a refined gentleman with the presence of... Sorry. That's the best I can do. Hey, stop worrying! Sucrose is a whole lot less... Anyway, let's go and look for Albedo.
This world is full of unsolved mysteries.
Sister Rosaria! So here you are! Choir practice is about to...
I've told you already, I don't go in for that kind of thing. I've got more important...
But this event has commemorative significance. The church hopes that all sisters will be present.
Hopes? That's odd, 'cause I don't recall a fulfill the hopes of others clause in my job description.
I mean, sure, but...
But what? You're the event organizer, aren't you? Do you not find...
What do you mean?
This far out from Mondstadt at this hour? Even if you set out right now, I'll wager you'd still miss the opening ceremony. Who knows? Maybe this is someone's grand plan to make a fool out of you.
Huh? Well, that can't be.
Evidence decides what people are like, not your feelings. Maybe you're a little too trusting of other people. Don't fret, nobody's gonna blame you if you go back empty-handed. I can't imagine anyone else was delusional enough, but if you dally any longer, you really won't make it.
You're right. It's a very important commemorative event. If I'm late, then... right, I've gotta get going.
Seems like that sister's an expert in...
I thought I heard something. Who are you and why are you eavesdropping?
We'd better watch out. She seems like a dangerous...
Oh, really? I'm a member of the long-standing Favonius Church. You're an eavesdropping pixie from who knows where. And you think I'm the trickster?
Wait, she heard that? Paimon was whispering so quiet.
And as for this outlander you seem to be following... The honorary knight that saved us from storm terror. Well then, given your status, I won't press you on your reasons for... Otherwise, depending on your answer, I could have arrested you on the spot.
What? Do the Sisters of Mondstadt have the authority to arrest people?
We can't go turning a blind eye to hidden dangers, can we? Why shouldn't sisters have a sense of justice?
That doesn't sound right. But Paimon can't think of a good comeback.
Let's talk about you. What are you doing in the mountains? If it's him you're after, I made a point of noting his tracks. Many people have made their way up after the snowstorm.
So, are you all...
No, this is just a professional habit of mine. I sensed elemental traces in these tracks. Never hurts to be vigilant. I couldn't care what you think. Come on then, I'd like to see what he's up to anyway.
Rosaria said there were elemental traces in the tracks. They should show up pretty clearly with elemental sight.
You know, little pixie, your ability to appear and disappear at will is very interesting.
Yeah?
After committing a crime, you'd be able to leave the...
It's getting colder and colder. Rosaria, aren't you freezing?
Me? I'm all right. I got used to operating in adverse conditions a long time ago.
Huh? Seems like there's more to being a sister in the Favonius Church than Paimon realized. Is that Albedo?
The word on the street is he loves painting. He'll hang around anywhere for a good The views and scenery here are pretty good. Potential...
But can't he see those hilly churros? Isn't he in danger? Uh-oh. Looks like he's startled them. Enough talk. Let's take them out of the picture first.
Who are you? Why did you alarm them? Thank the gods I'd already completed my painting. Would have been a shame to leave these particular hilly trails unfinished.
What's up with painting hilly churros? What makes...
I'm afraid the answer isn't easy to explain. If you'd like to have a look at my painting, it may give you a clue.
Wow. Look at the detail. But
You can find these hilly trails anywhere. Quite boring, in fact. Not worth close. But take a look at this specimen. The build, the coat, and there's a distinct force at work in the cyclical lives of such primitive communities. Such unique attributes are an indication of evolution at work.
Hold your horses. Something tells me we're in for a thesis and I haven't got the stamina. We found your man. I'm headed back.
what? Don't you have any... what a weird...
So Sister Rosaria brought you. Surprising. And I didn't have time to think, but back to the point. From her words...
We met a girl in Mondstadt, Sucrose. She said...
I see. So Sucrose sent you here. Then, if I'm not mistaken, You must be the... I've heard a bit of everything. Your actions during Storm Terror's attack, I'll skip to the conclusion. There's only one possibility after all. Excellent. If I could procure your assistance, I think my research would benefit... Forgive me. This must be confusing.
Whoa, you want us...
You're right. For example, awakening life. Breathing new life into fallen leaves.
You can do that?
However, I have a particular seed in my possession. The method I'm talking about has... It's like you, in that it hails from another world. Helping it to grow...
Well, if you're struggling to figure it out...
I beg to differ. I'm unable to comprehend the intricacy, but you're not from the known world. By observing and researching you...
Shall we just get out of here? This sounds a little freaky.
It's possible. But I will do everything in my time for a change of surroundings. We should...
Albedo and that traveler seem to have hit it off. Takes a weirdo to know one, I guess. I wonder, does this constitute a...
A question. After the seed sprouts, will it grow into anything?
I don't know. But I feel the importance will lie in the method, not the endpoint. Using alchemy to awaken otherworldly life into that would constitute a big... After awakening, even create... Still...
No! Paimon's got a brain! But what's the seed gonna become? Isn't that more interesting than whatever it was you were saying?
Well, if it turns out to be a delicious fruit, dinner's on me.
Yay! Paimon's holding you to it.
Well, let's just say I, occasionally have to look after a child. Another lengthy explanation, I'm afraid. The subject of my first research was the elements. In this world, manipulating the elements... How you're able to freely manipulate elemental power is something I'd like to ascertain. Firstly, do you have any extra organs? A second heart? A fourth stomach? Things... Fascinating. And this floating child...
What a stupid question! Can't you see the gap between us? And another thing, it's Paimon, not floating child.
I was merely considering the possibility that you were an external organ. Perhaps there is some invisible force connecting you. Oh, that rules out that possibility. I wonder... But that would mean that Paimon's elemental power would be enough to break through a mountain rock at least 10 meters thick, or cause the waterfall south of Springville to flow backwards.
Hey, how would you...
In that case, it would appear that there's no obvious difference between the composite... Given that there's clearly a discrepancy in the research. Firstly, this mysterious elemental power. I'd like to let me lure a few slimes to the area. Perhaps you'd be able to defeat them.
Huh?
Direct and clear observation are imperative to it. Naturally, if you require a greater challenge.
Slimes! Slimes are fine!
Well, prepare yourself.
Let's light it up! Teamwork is dream!
Dodge this! Windblade! Keep back! With the wind! Yeah.
Great work. Did you feel? If you're injured, I have a few emergency potions ready. Excellent. According to my observations, the manifestation of the external elemental flow is as expected. Elemental reactions are now that we know that the external flow is manifesting normally, let's test the internal flow.
Internal flow?
It's very simple. I can use alchemy to create a potion that will extract if the elemental power is stored or accumulated physically within your body. This potion may elicit an elemental reaction.
Sounds kinda
Don't worry. In the normal course of events, you'd feel some temporary queasiness. No bodily injury.
And in the
If anything unexpected occurs, I've made the necessary preparations. Well, it's not that there aren't any risks involved. But if there is anything blocking your elemental flow, just a warning. If an internal elemental reaction occurs for any other reason, that's an excellent way to think about it. Before we get started, it's a type of ore known as star silver. But unfortunately, I'll take you to my campsite. We can gather some star silver ore on the way. All going to plan, we should be able...
Paimon's still got a few safety... Let's keep our eyes open.
Here, should do for catalyst purposes.
Let's light it up! I'm going in!
Wind blade!
This one. Usable with a bit of polish. What luck. This should be enough. My campsite is just up ahead. I'll lead the way. This is my campsite. I've added the materials we collected to the concoction. While we are waiting, have a look over here. My assistant Timaeus here is helping me with my research.
Hello! I've just gotten hold of the data from your experiment. The report is already up on the board there.
Whoa! Look at all the data! You got all these results from one slime?
I wouldn't call them results, inferences, and a few... I think the most rational direction would be to expound on the phylogenetic relationship between this traveler and the slimes. Consider. You don't have a vision, but you can manipulate elemental energy. The slimes don't have visions either. Following this line of thought, I'm sure we'll be able to establish a basis in...
Not bad for a point of entry. But strictly speaking, slimes are elemental life forms. In other words, beings consisting entirely of the elements. A cryoregis vine, or even a whopperflower might be a better analogy. But tracing back the phylogenetic relationships between plants and animals, you might have to trace back. In that sense, things might get...
Yes.
After all, we've got our primary data already. This traveler, if it turned out that he did have a phylogenetic relationship with this world...
It would. Apologies. Speaking of data, to complete our research, we'll need some more.
Great, I'll leave you to it. Looks like the potion's ready. I'll try a little first. In line with my expectations. Ready to drink. Remember to keep calm at all times, and breathe deeply if you feel unwell.
Tasty? You've got a funny look on your face. You said you tried some already. You sure it was ready?
Oh, this was the result I was expecting. This potion channels elemental power into the body. Under normal circumstances, but if the internal elemental flow is unimpeded, you'll only experience momentary discomfort. Once the flow is complete,
So you knew you'd be sick and still drink?
it was my own concoction, of course. Only natural for me to be the guinea pig. But of course, you're my assistant. By all sense and reason, it would... In conclusion, I'd say we have our conclusion. As far as elemental energy is concerned,
Aw, Paimon wanted something.
then again, better an ordinary result than a peculiar result. Peculiar results have a The good thing about ordinary is that people are the same, they can understand, When you're sick, a doctor can diagnose you because... But a peculiar person, they don't have much For example, a human can't understand the life of a pyroregisvine or an Eye of the Storm. To sum up, this has been a positive outcome. Going forward, Timaeus, the results of the new experiment are out.
Just a moment, sir. I'll handle it. Oh, you gave me a lot to consider. Really stretched my limit. Having you down as an animal wasn't very precise of me. But starting with the premise of an elemental...
Not bad. I think it's an interesting line of inquiry. Whatever the truth of the matter, I'd like your research at...
You can count on me, sir. I'll extract...
Is he trying to join the Knights? What Paimon meant to say.
Before we can proceed, if you're interested, why not have a look?
Here comes Albedo. Let's go see him.
I'm back. Did you see anything interesting? Agreed. I'd love to find a moment to put them all in order. Well, on with the There may be significant differences between Take Tevat, for example. Here, those with visions can manipulate But worlds may well exist where only one person is able to do so. Or even everyone. So, leaving elements to one side. Do you possess... I think answering this question calls for the same methodology as last time. In other words, time for the next experiment. No. You shan't be required. Now, see this pillar here? Use your willpower to try and break it. That was your best effort?
What's with the disappointment?
Have you tried using your elemental power with food? I don't mean for cooking as such. Rather, I'm curious to see how the taste and texture respond. It may even help with proliferation. I suppose I have a Anyway, why don't you cook us up a sunshine sprat? I've just finished preparing the...
Cooking? Paimon was looking forward to more.
Not only is this recipe a staple for me, it's also worth experimenting with.
Paimon bets you. That does sound yummy, though. Okay, Paimon approves. Good buddies are always...
I'll leave you to it then. Looking forward to the results. If there's anything left over, maybe...
Paimon doesn't think we'll have that. How are we gonna channel elemental power into the food? Maybe try the willpower thing again. Where does he get these ideas from anyway?
That was fast. Looking for... An average outcome experimentally, but you've really brought up. As far as the proliferation hypothesis is concerned, we've come up short. Seems like food presents the same headaches in you. Unless. Could it be that the natural laws of this
We just didn't know how to channel elemental power into the food. It's a little more complicated than adding
Not to worry. At least we put some food to good use. No need. And here's your portion. Enjoy. I can box it up if you like.
Woohoo! Thanks! Glad you were paying attention.
I can tell that you're good friends. Paimon was keeping an eye on you and your safety during the whole. Not that Paimon would have been able to do much if things had gone wrong. But anyway.
Hey! You were being nice a second ago! But you do have tasty recipes, so Paimon forgives you. And you're right, we are good friends. You have good friends too, right?
Yes. I'm fortunate too, I suppose. And there are all manner of alchemical items here. Keeping them in their proper place is a challenge at the best of times. A while ago, I had the misfortune of misplacing a batch. I managed to retrieve the majority, but 2 vials have been evading me.
Paimon's barely finished eating and you want us to go gathering.
Don't worry if you can't locate them. I was planning to replace if you had, say, a superpower, like night vision or vibratory sensing. Lost. I must have dropped them somewhere in the area where you.
So, guess we'd better take a look. Oh yeah, you could use let's just do it the old-fashioned way. The extract of an animo crystal fly can. This must be electrohypostasis powder.
Goodness, you managed. I'm wondering, this elemental sight. This is what allowed you to locate the items and find me here.
Yep, guess it does.
Unfortunately, though elemental sight is seldom seen, it is not unheard of in Teyvat. Only a never-before-seen otherworldly power would be of benefit to my research.
You mean we failed?
Don't be disheartened. This falls entirely within my expectations. Besides, getting these items back, I'd call this a very worthwhile. I have to commend your deduction that the items. Right then. Up until now, our research has focused on your otherworldly identity. In essence, the differences between looking out from where we're standing. Can you see what sucrose is? And if you jump from here and landed on that cliff, the one over there. So what about if you planted a single blow on the mountain face here, and it burst into a million fragments? Then could you see her? Then I shouldn't get too excited. Still, we'll gain a more. I know of a location that will be perfect for a.
You want us?
Not necessarily. Not if you know of a better method, that is. Whichever method you choose, the experiment will end when you reach. I will factor the time expended and your top speed into my comparative analysis.
The opposite side of the lake. So,
Without limitations, we complete tasks intuitively, using the method that seems some of us would be unable. No matter what choice you make, it's all a part of the experiment. Then if you would, please.
Wait a minute. While we're busy testing, what exactly
recording data, responding to risks, providing emotional support.
So if we do decide to go swimming, you gonna dive in with us?
No. Unless you're thinking of conducting competitive research?
Oh! Forget Paimon said anything.
Great work. I've never seen a performance. Your reputation precedes you, traveler. The data shows that...
But you followed us the whole...
Me? Actually, I used alchemy to... If it turns out that the natural laws of Tevad do not affect... If the natural laws of Tevad do affect you, the innumerable possibilities that this could present...
But how does this help your read?
You've helped me to unravel many of the problems that were holding it back. I may be about to make some analogies between you and a few... gold, petrified trees, a sun 8 times the size of our own. The essence of the investigative process is enthralling. I'm willing to pour all my energy into research. And yet specimens are fine. All these things that start out as objects of...
Oh, so that's why you wanted to paint those hilly turtles? Because you...
Precisely. To quote my exact words from...
So after all these experiments, are we...
Of course not. You have been now. Before we head back to the campsite, follow me. There are some other ruins. I imagine you must have encountered more than a few can... I'd like to observe your intelligence by means of a practical test of your capability. I'd like you to explore these ruins and return with... There are 2 puzzles located at the far ends of the ruins. After completion, as with the physical test, there are no restrictions. Everything you do is an action I wish to observe. A tried and tested adventurer So, let's see you in action. It's a complex environment, so proceed with caution.
Want me to come along?
Windblade!
Huh?
Sealy like these are a common sight in the mountains. Returning them to their rightful places is up to you.
Time to go. Into the wind.
Let's light it up!
Keep back!
Off we go!
It should now be possible to activate the central mechanism. Exactly what will happen when you do is something I'm looking... Oh, seems that the water level has suddenly decreased. We should be able to see what's in the water now. Let's have a look. What's this? To the best of my knowledge, these belong to a script of some kind. They can be found all over Teyvat. There's still a lot to learn about them. And as for why they should ever have... Let me make a copy first. I'll make time to go over them in greater detail after I...
Another thing for the don't understand list. Unsolvable mystery this, weird seems like if you want the reward, you gotta pay the price.
I've truly gained a lot from all this. Comparatively. Let me return to the campsite first. By the time you get back, I may just have a fleeting miracle for you to witness.
Paimon's kinda looking forward to seeing the results of, unless you can think of anything better to do,
Not so fast. You're not leaving until I'm convinced that nothing dangerous is going on here.
You!
I most certainly did not. And I've witnessed everything that... I must say, you let your guards down. Or maybe you were drawn in by his compelling-sounding hypothesis and friendly demeanor. Taking orders from a complete stranger? Drinking anonymous potions? Participating in all kinds... I'd sooner believe you were tricked than that you would be so naive. Or perhaps...
Sister Rosaria's guard's so high, she can't even see over the top of it.
It doesn't matter what you think. He could be a saint for all you know. But I understand him a little better than you out. I'm only concerned with one thing. Whether his alchemy has transformed you into something.
No way! Paimon would have sensed it. And anyway, he didn't even use...
With an alchemist of his level, you wouldn't sense a thing. In any case, I'm not about to let a potential threat back in...
So, what are you gonna do?
I've got to hand it to you. You have your moments. If I can be sure that nothing you came into contact with is dangerous, that's good enough for me. I've investigated everything else. The only items left on the agenda...
But we don't even know...
That much is true. But for insurance purposes, I'd better make a copy. Now then, all things considered, which is what I was hoping. I would have been one very unhappy
Overtime.
Before we go our separate ways, Outlander, a word of advice. Don't be so quick to trust Albedo, and don't repeat the same mistakes that you did this time. You made a lot of rash decisions today.
She's gone! Mondstadt doesn't have many people like that. Huh. Never mind her.
Oh, I'm...
You're back. Good timing. I've just about... You took quite a while. Did you get held up on the way back? Time for the results. We got a myriad of data today, but the integral preliminary conclusion that I can offer you is...
You couldn't tell that just by looking? We spent all day working our butt.
Please, I understand that this may have seemed self-evident to you. Have you ever considered that the world of Teyvat may have a natural hostility to Outlanders? I mentioned the natural laws of this world. You're able to converse with me here without consequence, and nothing seems amiss. The only other life form that, like you, has come here from afar is the seed that I mentioned. Under the effects of Teyvat's natural laws, it isn't even able. But after I observed you, imitating you helped to inspire my alchemy. And so,
Whoa! It looks like something's appearing!
the transition from nothing into something, from shoot to stem. And is not nurturing otherworldly life also nurturing the world itself? It would seem that that's as far as we go. A transient bloom of
Paimon thought, with all our efforts, it might have bloomed forever. And it didn't even have it.
life is a manifold tapestry of free entities. Its value shouldn't derive from how long it stays with us. Even a momentary burst is... A short life can be well lived. A life lived... So, do you understand what I meant about us conversing here arguably being a small miracle?
Things feel... Don't be sad. Albedo, Paimon real...
Thank you both. Even if dispelling loneliness is not as... Your help inspired me to discover the means to make a flower bloom. I mean that the time I've spent traveling with you in the future, if the need arises, can I... Well... I made a point throughout of telling him how ordinary the results... But what was that sediment I saw forming at the bottom of the vial? It should not have been there. Those born of Earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities. You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, can I rely on you to stop me?